So I've had one or two people trying to scam me just recently, and it's getting a little bit tedious, but also a separate experience which has been rather eye-opening to say the least, in terms of the distinct lack of security at a particular organisation who I won't name because that's not fair, but it does highlight just how vulnerable some people and some organisations might be if a would-be fraudster has sufficient information to convince people of certain things. I'll describe that in more detail in the second half of this video. But in the first half, the first of these scams that I'm talking about, the company in question, who is sort of the victim in this whole scam because the fraudsters are using this company's name, is Every. And they've thought it necessary to put up a page on their website, which I'll show you in a minute, and even collaborate with the National Cybersecurity Centre to warn people of this scam. So this is the scam itself. You possibly received one yourself. Nothing to do with the logo on the left-hand side. That's a different image. I'll come back to that in a minute. This text message comes through, or iMessage comes through, and says, Every express delivery exception notification. The courier cannot contact you when delivering the goods and does not have your detailed address. So the first warning about all these things is that they read a little bit strange. And they read strange very often because they're not written out very well. Now, the link that it gives you is invariably going to a malicious website. At the very least, it's going to ask you for details that they hadn't ought to have because it's a fraudster behind it. And obviously, if you give them your telephone number, your address, your name, and whatever other details they ask you for, you are opening yourself up to identity theft. But some of these also ask you for payments, which you shouldn't pay, and it might be Every or any other courier for that matter. Even Royal Mail, I've covered those before, and all of these sorts of things. Now, one of the things with iMessage is that once you reply, they know that it's active, and then they are able to send you further messages and that sort of thing, after which then they can just keep spamming you. But least of all, you should not be clicking on these links because they're likely to be malicious websites with malicious scripts or malicious downloads, and at the very least asking you for information that you shouldn't be giving them. So that is certainly one thing to avoid. Now, coming to the website itself, Every have put up this page here talking about spotting and reporting potential frauds, phishing with a PH, which is people trying to get your information, your phone numbers, your email address, your bank details, and all of these kind of things, and obviously then ultimately trying to impersonate you. You might get these, what they call fake missed parcel messages, and maybe even invoices that they ask you to pay and all sorts of other things. And they've even had to collaborate with the National Cybersecurity Centre, whereby they give you examples of what these things look like, and they show you that they've missed a delivery, and you need to go in and tell them what your delivery preferences are, and all of these kind of things. Now, each of these might have malicious software, malicious scripts, etc. Coming on to another scam. Actually, this was one directed at us personally, because among other things, I run a page on Facebook, which is Easy Chinese Cooking, which is linked to my dear wife's YouTube channel, Easy Chinese Cooking. And I take this one kind of personally because we get this so-called Karen Ward, which I don't think is their real name. Hi, I'm from Facebook support team. This is an important message from Facebook for admin page, which obviously it's not. Your page was detected with copyright infringement. Now, anyone who's running a page like this or any social media will immediately be worried about copyright infringement because, it could mean termination of your account or all that sort of stuff, or your page. So you do generally look at these things and think, copyright infringement, I need to take a look at that. The admin team will deactivate Facebook accounts that may not follow our services, because other users report to us that you are violating our copyright term. So all of it is written badly. And so again, they want to send you to some page. Now, I don't know, I haven't clicked it, so I'm not going to show you what's on it, but it says account confirmation. Go to this link here, and doubtless it's going to ask for logging details or all kinds of other information which they're not going to have. So that's just another scam, by way of example. So I've blocked this poster and deleted the comment. A more simplified version comes through by email, impersonating my wife here, who is the co-founder of Shen Smith Barristers, is emailing it to, well, it came to me, but it's addressed to accounts payable. We don't have such an email address. And it's designed to look like it's an internal email, and says, "We need to make a payment to a new vendor for an overdue invoice. What bank details would you need to make this payment? Please reply to let me know." Now, obviously, this is nonsense. Obviously, it's a scam. And you can see from this silly email address at the top here that this is either just someone who's made up an email address to do this scam with, or it's someone else's and they've spoofed it or whatever. But either way, it's nonsense and I'm going to ignore it. So all of these things are directing you to give them information, or they're directing you to a website which is going to be malicious. Now, one of the reasons I make these videos is because it doesn't matter how safe and careful you think you are, you might at some point be tempted to click one of these links because you might be expecting a delivery. It might be from that courier. They might tell you that you've missed the delivery. You might actually think you've missed the delivery. You don't want to miss it, and you might be tempted to click the link. And so, for one, watching my videos will make you less likely to fall for that. But also, secondly, I do partner on this channel with NordVPN because they provide a valuable service, which has a cybersecurity element built in called threat protection, which if you do accidentally click one of these links, then it will tell you that it's likely to be a malicious website. There might be a tracker on the website, or if it tries to download a file, then it will tell you that this is a malicious file and it will prevent you from downloading it. I had exactly this just the other day when I was out and about in a public place, which is part of my second half of the story I'll come back to in a minute, where I was on a public Wi-Fi and NordVPN detected that this was an unsafe network and advised that I disconnect from it. So as I say, at some point, however careful you might be, you might accidentally or be tempted to click one of these links and you might put yourself at risk. But NordVPN will help to protect you. There's a discount link in the description below which gives you 4 extra months free. And if you navigate to this page, you will see your IP address and your location, and it will show you that your computer is not protected. So now let me tell you the other part of this story, which I think is quite eye-opening. So it links together loosely with this public network that I was talking about before. So as it happens, there was nobody in earshot at the time, so I didn't have any particular concerns. But I was on a public network nonetheless. Now, for one reason and another, I needed to reset login details for a particular account. This organization has a support department. So I called the support department. I told them who I was. I gave them just the email address and why it was that I needed to reset the credentials. And they asked me 1 or 2 questions. But the questions that they asked me were not particularly complex. And if somebody, let's say, had a profile of a few bits of personal information about me or about you, they would have been able to give those details across the phone to the guy in support. Now, the guy in support then provided a new temporary login password, which, as I say, was quite frankly rather alarming. With a quick phone call and a few details, in under 10 minutes, I was given a brand new password to log into this account. Now, for me, the private information that I had to give would not be available publicly anywhere. But you might think the same thing, because you might trust that if you've answered any security questions on any particular account, for example, Facebook, Experian, etc., I'll tell you why that's important in a minute. If you've put your details into those websites, you might trust that they are secure. However, there have been major data breaches over the last few years, resulting in hundreds of millions and in some cases billions with a B leaked records of data, including Facebook. Facebook made headlines as reported by NordVPN in early 2021. This leak include full names, phone numbers, email addresses, location information, and more, which could include all sorts of other bits of information that people could use. There were 533 million users impacted worldwide. And according to Facebook themselves, hackers found a security flaw that was fixed back in 2009, but not before they took advantage of it. Experian, the credit scoring company, also found themselves in breach, which probably happened sometime in 2020. A company you might have otherwise trusted with your personal information to be scoring you for credit scoring and affordability. This breach uncovered large quantities of personal information being sold on the dark web. Now, these are just 2 of many companies that have had security breaches and information that has been found on the dark web. Now, what is the dark web and why does it matter? Now, first of all, the dark web is probably best described as a secret and unlisted, usually encrypted part of the internet that you won't find coming up in search results. But it is somewhere that hackers and fraudsters might go to buy chunks of information, including data about you, and then try to use that information to hack into your accounts, hack into your banks, take out loans in your name, and all of these kind of things. So once again, you can see from here, NordVPN offers a dark web monitor service, whereby every now and again I will get a ping that a website has been hacked or breached and information has been leaked. It might be the password, the hashed password, and it will prompt me to go and change my password on that website to prevent anyone from accessing it. Now, there are literally dozens of these websites that have been flagged up with leaks and breaches by NordVPN in the dark web monitor. So every now and again, I will get an update and a report that certain websites have had a breach or a leak, and I need to go and change the password or even close down the account entirely. And so, as I said in my story here, when I was able to ring up this organization, just answer a few simple questions with information that some people might have out there on the dark web somewhere, and they then gave me a new password to access this account. So if you'd like to find out if your information is leaked on the dark web somewhere, again, take advantage of the huge discount that you'll get by using my link in the description below. Check out if your information is out there on the dark web somewhere, and also get alerted if you're visiting a malicious website. But in the meantime, please don't fall for scams like this one that send you a link and say, please rearrange the delivery, or worse still, pay a fee for redelivery, which they won't do. So just bin the messages, block the sender, and you'll be done with it. And as I've said many times before, these scams must work on enough people for them to keep doing it. Otherwise, they would simply stop doing it. So please stay alert. Please warn your relatives about this, those that might fall victim to this, because some of them lose thousands of pounds. I've had several emails this week where people have been defrauded in exactly this situation. So as I said, check out the link to NordVPN. It is a fantastic service that I paid for with my own money that gives me peace of mind. So stay safe out there. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time.